I really like Tsoding criticism that type attributes are very poorly documented. So I also suggest to take my criticism when I'm in my flow mode with a grain of salt. Right, because it's kind of the way I work, honestly. Right. I just sort of like grinding through the problem and constantly complain. Right. But at the end of this grinding, I usually achieve my goal, right? And quite often people don't really understand that I'm just me being hyper focused and simultaneously hypercritical on things is part of my workflow. And instead of looking at what I say, I recommend people to look at what I do and what I achieve at the end of my sessions. Right. So that's what I recommend. So some things are that I say might be actually fair. Sometimes they may not be fair. Sometimes they may be harsh. Sometimes they may be rude. Right. But at the end of the day, just look at what I made at the end of the stream. Right. So because in my opinion, what you're making with the technology, what you're making with the language is more important than what you say about the language or even think about the language. Right. I think like opinion about technology for an engineer is irrelevant. So I'm, as an engineer, have certain opinions on certain tools and certain libraries and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, none of those opinions are relevant as long as I make something with that technology. That's my usual attitude. Right. That's my usual attitude. So I'm complaining, but I'm also making shit with things. For some reason, it's really difficult for people to understand this attitude, because for majority of the people, you can only use the things that you like, and if you use this thing, you constantly have to price it, right? And when, for example, this is not the case for some communities, especially something like React community. React community is this like weird cult that where you are supposed to love React and say only nice things about React. And when they actually met me and saw me learn React and saw me complaining about React, they got like a culture shock. They could not comprehend that you can use the thing and criticize the thing simultaneously. They just can't comprehend that, right? And like, they're still to this day, they're leaving walls of text saying to me how horrible of a person I am. Like almost like every day I receive like a wall of text from a React dev saying how stupid and moronic I am on that video for criticizing and complaining about React or something like that. It's actually fucking fascinating. Like, and I can't really explain to people that this is just my mentality, this is how I work. I complain about languages and libraries all the time while also using them and making stuff with them. Just don't look at what I say, look at what I do. Right, do I make progress? Did I make something interesting with it? So that's what's important. And for some people it's just like really difficult to understand that. But there are a lot of criticism about React on the internet. How are they even sheltered? It's probably filter bubbles, probably. So to be fair, the theory of filter bubble is not actually 100% true. It is actually not 100% true, because if the filter bubbles existed in a form that we describe them, Twitter would not work, actually. Twitter works through segregating echo chambers, that is true, but also by constantly smashing these echo chambers together. And that's how they create engagement, actually. So there are some echo chambers, but through the algorithms of social media, they're constantly being smashed with each other to create engagement, to create traffic, to create content, to create drama. So that's what's going on. So the way the React people probably perceive that, so they perceive them that as us versus them situation, You know what I'm talking about? They see their echo chamber as the good echo chamber, and then there's the rest of the world outside of that echo chamber. It's them, they're hostile, and that's why they're probably writing walls of text to me, because they're perceiving me as the them from like outside of the echo chamber, right? Like to which they have to throw stones to defend themselves. So that's how the social media works essentially.